Howdy, y'all.
It's Ego. I found a cool Ghost of Tsushima article I wanted to go over with you today and maybe share some of my thoughts on. It's about one of the key instruments in the game, the Biwa, sort of a lute. Today's article comes from Inverse by Danny Pays. Thank you, Danny. Let's get into it. Ghost of Tsushima. Also, beware, there's spoilers as we get into the article. So, beware. Not in the article itself, but there's a link on the side. Just a heads up. Ghost of Tsushima composer reveals the instrument behind the game's best songs. Did you catch this distinct sound during your playthrough? Um, I I think I caught it. It mentions in Lord Shimura's theme. Pretty sure I caught it there. If you did, let me know. Ghost of Tsushima is nothing short of a visual masterpiece. Man, you got that right. The game is absolutely beautiful. It looks like, I don't know, a painting sometimes. The way the color palette is, the golden yellows and super bright blues really clash well against like the dark reds during combat and really sets a beautiful picture. I couldn't praise the look of the game more. The graphics are just stunning, which I know is a given. We're on PS4 nowadays and Xbox One and stuff, and with the new consoles coming out, I know good graphics are a given, but I still can't help but be floored by them sometimes. And this game was one of those cases. Sucker Punch Productions spent the better part of 6 years developing the stunning virtual landscapes gamers have been obsessing over since the Samurai Epic's July 17 release. One of the many ways that the game honors the 13th century Japanese history is with an authentic approach to the music and melodies that set the mood in Ghost of Tsushima. Award-winning musician and co-composer of Ghost of Tsushima's soundtrack, Ian Eshkiri, tells Inverse that it took him and fellow composer Shigeru Umebayashi a good year to complete the 22-song soundtrack. His work on the project led him to discover a 7th century instrument that's legacy seems to have waned. Alright, so, okay, first off, let's pause here. That's exciting. They gave him a whole year to kind of conduct the music, compose what he needed to, and really just let it be what it needed to be. Which is really cool to know that Sony believed in it that much, to give them that much time and effort. Sucker Punch wanted that much care and time to go into it. It's good to know that a lot of attention and to detail and a lot of money went into the game. Sucker Punch wanted to be authentic and respectful, Eshkari says. I was inspired by that ambition, so I started researching folk songs and instruments from the area and time period and spoke with masters and scholars. I went on this big journey of learning, and by the end of it, I knew just enough to know what I don't know. Okay, to me that's interesting. That says that's really interesting. The fact that he was willing to kind of take that next step and discover a little more about the history and about the instruments of the time, which kind of led him to the instrument we're talking about now, the biwa. It seems to be almost forgotten with, I believe, just a handful of people who play it. He talks about that later, and I believe we even get to see one of them. That's him right here. Ian Eshkiri, one of the co-composers of the game. Maybe Ghost of Tsushima will help renew interest in this instrument. That's a good point, because I know I probably had never heard this instrument until I played this game. If I had, I didn't know it. And so I think that's really a really good way to use these kind of historical instruments, not only to add authenticity to the game, but actually to actually set credence to the idea that it feels real. It's really immerses you in that much more because the music is right and it has a sense of historical authenticity, if not so much accuracy. Ishkiri has 20 years of experience creating music for a wide variety of mediums, including films like 47 Ronin and Kick-Ass, along with video games like The Sims 4. But the London native said that creating the music of Ghost of Tsushima was one of the most fascinating learning experiences of his career. Okay, the fact that the guy has 20 years of experience is good in itself, but I didn't know he did the music for 47 Ronin, which itself is a badass movie with badass music. So who else would you want doing the music for, your historical game than a guy who kind of knows his way around those sort of sounds, who knows how to find it, and also a guy who's not afraid to seek out a 7th century instrument that might not even exist just for just to make it feel correct. That's true dedication. So it seems like, he and the other composer really took their time with this and really put a lot of effort and, I'm going to say it, passion. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but I really feel like there was a lot of passion put into this game, and it shines through when you're playing. Because man, it's rare when a game engrosses you as much as this one has. And I've played a lot of games in my short time here, and this one has really pulled me in like pretty good to the point that I kind of wanted to start making videos with it. And to get started, I made videos with Mad Max just to kind of get the ball rolling and get myself used to how this whole YouTube thing works. And by the time Ghost of Tsushima came out, I just couldn't wait to play it. Couldn't wait to get into it. And boy, I believe it was well worth the wait. What, 2013 they said it? I think it was at Paris Games Week. Yeah, Paris Games Week where they announced it. And man, it's been a hell of a wait, but well worth it. Sucker Punch knocked it out of the park with this one. By the end of that journey, Ishikiri became familiar with a Japanese lute called the Biwa, which can be heard in Lord Shimura's theme song. This traditionally four-stringed instrument descends from the Chinese pipa, which was made into many different variants during Japan's feudal era. Excuse me. And Lord Shimura is Jin's sensei, whom he's trying to rescue early on in the game. I'm still in like chapter 1, so no spoilers. I really don't know what happens. So hopefully he's able to save him and, I don't know, kind of get on with his training. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that simple. Continuing on, here's one of the instruments here, the biwa, a lot bigger than I imagined. One of them was the Satsuma Biwa, which samurai learned to play during the 17th century as a form of mental and moral training. The biwa's twangy plucks were most commonly accompanied by a single voice during court performances, but as popularity spread, the instrument made its way into religious sermons and oral history performances. Okay, so this instrument became sort of associated with significant things and important moments. So when you were recounting a historical lecture, religious sermons, those would have been pretty important back in the 17th century. So people knew when this started playing that it was time to listen, that something important was coming, and you might learn a thing or two. That's pretty cool. And with that in mind, that kind of shows how significant Lord Shimura is to the plot of the game, using an instrument that's associated with, more important, thought-provoking, kind of more serious ideas, kind of shows how important he is in the bigger narrative of the game. To use such an important instrument for such an important character just makes a lot of sense. One of them was the Satsuma Biwa, which samurai learned to play during the 17th century as a form of mental and moral training. The biwa's twangy plucks. Oh, excuse me. So I assume it would be more akin to, I guess, Jin's flute or a cowboy's harmonica, where they'd have it with them and they'd play, while they're on the trail traveling, while they're just resting for the night and sort of ponder on the day's work, maybe what's coming the next day. They might compose some music with it, and it helps keep you focused and kind of keeps you, in line, for lack of a better term. Lord Shimura is the embodiment of the samurai code of honor in Ghost of Tsushima, a code that protagonist Jin Sakai was raised to rigorously uphold. But he's eventually forced to break that code to combat the overwhelming Mongol invasion of his home in ways that are effective, but perceived as dishonorable. All I believe here is Junko Ueda. Ishigiri learned that there were only a handful of musicians who specialized in biwa performances left today. One of them is Junko Ueda, a Satsuma biwa master who played the biwa for Lord Shimura's theme, which took inspiration from the epic account The Tale of the Hike, which is typically accompanied by a biwa. And so Junko Ueda, I guess she seems to be one of the few people who knows how to play this instrument, and she actually recorded Lord Shimura's theme in the game. So what a cool, unique way to keep this instrument preserved pretty much forever. Because now it's recorded, millions of people are going to hear it, maybe be inspired by it. What a cool thought. And check out this video. We can't watch it here, but check it out. I'll link it down below because it's actually a hell of a performance, and I really think y'all would like it. Really, really beautiful sounding instrument. At its core, Ghost of Tsushima is an adventure through Jin coming to terms with the fact that he'll need to deceive and murder the Mongol army, instead of honorably facing them head-on, like his traditions dictate. Sucker Punch put the samurai tradition front and center in this story and imbued it into many of the game's details, like letting Ishigiri include a biwa performance by one of the instrument's few remaining experts. There's a real purity of thought and creativity in a lot of the music, which means it is very firmly rooted in Japanese tradition, Ishigiri says. I'm proud that I was able to achieve that and that Sony and Sucker Punch were brave enough to stand behind its plan to bring all of this authenticity to Ghost of Tsushima. While Ghost of Tsushima takes a lot of creative liberties in terms of what the 13th century actually looked like, the inclusion of the biwa is one way that makes the game feel that much more authentic. Ghost of Tsushima is out now for the PlayStation 4. We'll stop the article there because there's heavy spoilers down below, which I almost read, which would have been bad. But anyway, look, I thought that was really interesting. A little behind the scenes knowledge about what went into the music and the creation of the music of the game. What one of the main instruments is a really beautiful sounding instrument, very unique. And it's damn near ancient, set from the 7th century. And with her actually recording the song for the game, yeah, that's really exciting. Good way to keep that preserved. Millions of people hear it. I honestly wonder how many people might have um, decided to buy one of these or try to find something like it, or even just became more inspired in that sort of music. And this makes me wonder. I know I had never heard of it before now. Um, but I think it was a really nice instrument, really good way to put some of that history in there, make the game feel like it needs to feel, and just let the music breathe and give it this really good, epic, like meaningful tone and meaningful feeling, which I don't think Sucker Punch could have done any better. But I believe that's all for today. Just wanted to go over a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, share my thoughts on it. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I couldn't recommend it more. Look, I don't get paid to say that or by Sony or anything, but that's all I've got is a PlayStation 4, so that's what I play on. But I was looking forward to this game for a hell of a long time, years and years, and finally being able to get my hands on it has been a hell of a blast. I've been having so much fun with the photo mode, which is very, very powerful little mechanic. The way you can take moving photographs is pretty unique, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. Been having fun with trying to master the parry, more difficult than I imagined, but a tough challenge, one that if you can master, you'll be pretty much unstoppable in the game. I also love taking pictures with the flute and walking around playing it and seeing how different people react to you, hearing the different stories they tell about you, and giving respect to seeing how people react. It's been a lot of fun, actually, just all the different little things. I recently discovered you could do a haiku, which I was so taken aback by that I just decided to capture the footage and share it with y'all. Let me know what you think of this video. If you liked what you saw, make sure you like and subscribe to make sure you can see some more Ghost of Tsushima gameplay. We did some Kurosawa gameplay footage the other night on a live stream, which was a lot of fun. Really cool alternate look of the game that matches Akira Kurosawa's movies. Very unique look, really, more than just black and white. So we're having fun with that, trying that out, and yeah, if you liked what you saw, consider hitting that like button. If you didn't, hey, I appreciate you hanging out and chatting games with us. This has been Ego signing off. You're beautiful. Stay true to yourself.